Hey everyone, I'm Kenny Scott Guffey, and here we have Denny Kid talking on mute. You're muted, DK. He said no. Poor Denny. So I'm just going to introduce Tom Holland's Fright Night. And look, technical difficulties are part of it. That's why we wanted to do this. We knew that no matter what happens, it's going to be live for the entire world to see. You plan for months in advance, and still, you know what? Sometimes things happen, right? So this is going to be fun. This is going to be memorable. And these people have worked very hard to bring these characters to life. So we're going to throw it over to Kings of Horror.
The small town of Rancho Corvallis, Iowa, in the fall of 1985. Before the lights rise, the sound of a wolf's howl is heard, followed by the voice of Jonathan, a character from a terrible AIP Hammer style horror film called Blood Castle. The film is being watched on a nearby television.
What was that?
Just a child of the night, Jonathan. Come, sit here beside me on the veranda. I love the night so. The blue and white flicker of a television slowly rises on the bedroom of Charlie Brewster, a 17-year-old American teenager and horror fanatic. The light begins to illuminate the figures of Charlie and his 17-year-old girlfriend, Amy Peterson, an all American teenager, both pretty and sweet. They are both lying on Charlie's bed, making out and pawing at each other. It is apparent by moments of fleeting resistance that Amy is struggling between her fears about going all the way and her animal attraction to Charlie. Charlie takes off his shirt and then returns his attention to Amy. The voice of Jonathan and the voice of Miss Nina continue as Charlie and Amy kiss.
I've wanted to see you so beautiful before, Nina. So pale, so luminescent, and your lips are so red.
Are they? Would you like to kiss them?
Why are you looking at me so strangely, Nina?
Not you, Jonathan. Your neck. Has anyone ever told you it was beautiful?
No.
Come, lay your head on my breast.
Stop, you creature of the night!
Who are you? Who interrupts my nightly feeding?
I am Peter Vincent, the great vampire killer!
No, no! Keep away! Keep away from me! Stop! Ah! The sound of the stake being hammered through her chest is followed by the voice of the Fright Night Theater announcer.
And now your host, Peter Vincent. Fright Night.
This is Peter Vincent, bringing you Fright Night Theater.
Charlie, Peter Vincent's on.
Forget Peter Vincent.
Tonight's journey into horror is Blood Castle, one of my personal favorites.
But you love him.
And I love you more.
And for good reason. I'm in it.
Fright Night.
Charlie, stop it. Charlie, I said stop it.
Jesus, Amy. Give me a break. We've been together for almost a year now. Oh, here's Charlie, stop it. I'm sorry, Amy.
Me too. I'm just scared. That's all. Let's get into bed.
You mean it?
Amy nods and crosses to the bed. As she does, Charlie looks out of his bedroom window and something catches his eye. Below in the side yard, he sees two shadowy figures carrying what looks very much to be an ornate coffin towards the vacant house next door. The house has a for sale sign in front of it with a sold sign just beneath it. Charlie's mouth drops open. Amy begins to take off her blouse. Charlie is too distracted to notice, his gaze glued to the scene he's seeing below. As Amy's blouse comes off, she lays back on the bed, looking up at Charlie, waiting for him to join her. He ignores her, grabbing his binoculars from his desk, whipping them to his eyes and focusing on the figures below. They are Billy Cole, a handsome young man in his mid-20s to early 30s, wearing a fall jacket, and Jerry Dandridge, a striking man in his 40s, wearing a long trench coat. Jerry's appears to be carrying the end of a huge ornate oblong box effortlessly with one hand.
Charlie, I'm ready.
Amy, you are not going to believe this. There are two guys out in the yard. I think they're carrying a coffin.
We have pledged ourselves to evil.
Sure. And they're on the moors, right?
Amy, I'm serious.
So am I. Do you want to make love or not?
Charlie doesn't answer. He is still peering through his binoculars. Billy and Jerry exit with the coffin towards the house next door. Amy jumps up, puts her blouse back on, grabs her backpack from the floor next to the bed, and hurries out of Charlie's room.
Amy, quick. Come here, you've got to see this.
He whirls to find that Amy is gone. He tosses the binoculars on the bed and hurries after her.
Amy! Okay. Maybe it wasn't a coffin.
The lights rise on the Brewster living room. Amy enters in a huff with Charlie close behind. Amy is pulling on her jacket. Judy Brewster, Charlie's mother, a pleasant-looking, warm woman in her 40s, is sitting in a chair unseen by Charlie and Amy. She's relaxing in her robe and reading a magazine in front of the television with her freshly painted toes up on the ottoman. She is watching the 10 o'clock news.
But I did see two guys carrying something into that house.
I don't understand you. First you want to make love and then you don't.
Amy? Charlie? What's wrong?
Nothing, Mom.
Well, come in here, you two. Are you kids having a lover's spat?
No, Mom. It's nothing like that.
Well, there's nothing wrong with it. It says right here that the divorce rate is 76% higher among couples who don't argue before marriage.
Mom, we are in high school.
Well, it never hurts to plan ahead. Oh, Amy, will you remind your mother that we're playing poker at her house this weekend?
Yes, Mistress Brewster. Well, good night, Charlie.
Yeah, good night.
Good night, Mistress Brewster.
Night, Amy. Thanks for helping Charlie with his homework.
Anytime. See you tomorrow, Charlie?
He hardly hears her as he continues staring out the window. Amy turns and stomps out of the room. A moment later, the front door opening and then closing is heard. Judy looks at Charlie. He is glued to the window.
Charlie, that wasn't very nice, not walking Amy to the front door.
Mom, there are people next door.
Oh, I guess the new owner must be moving in.
What new owner?
Didn't I tell you? Bob Hopkins said he finally got rid of that place.
Who did he sell it to?
I don't know. Some fella who fixes houses up for a living. Supposed to be very attractive, though. I just hope whoever he is, he knows what he's getting himself into with that house. It's going to take a lot of work to make it livable.
And now for the local news. A man was found murdered tonight behind the railroad yards. Details are pending, awaiting notification of next of kin.
Before the lights rise, the sound of a car pulling in is heard, followed by two doors opening and then one closing after the other. The lights then rise on an area in front of the Brewster house. Evil Ed Thompson, Charlie's creepy, horror-obsessed 17-year-old friend, enters, followed by Charlie, who appears to be angry. They're both wearing jackets and carrying backpacks. Evil Ed is carrying a school quiz in his hand and is marked with an A+.
Thanks for the ride, Brewster. Mwah! And thank you, Mr. Smith. Have a good weekend, sir.
That bastard. Why didn't he tell us he's going to spring up a pop quiz?
Well, that's the point of a pop quiz, Brewster, to surprise you.
Thanks, Teach.
The sound of a bus stopping is heard. A high school football jock enters wearing a hooded sweatshirt, which indicates he attends Christopher L. Cushing's high school.
Heads up, Thompson, you fucking weirdo.
He hits Evil Ed in the head with a crushed soda pop can. Evil Ed spins around and drops his backpack. The high school football jock laughs and is joined by the sound of more laughing off stage, which fades to the sound of a bus pulling away. The high school football jock exits. Evil Ed rubs his head and attempts to hide his embarrassment through sarcasm.
Did you hear that? Christopher L. Cushing High School's quarterbrain knows who I am. Wow. Do you think I should run for student council?
Keep calling him quarterbrain and you're going to be running for your life.
Why don't they ever pick on you, Brewster? I mean, you're just as big of a horror geek as I am.
Well, I mean, it might be because
You're right. I'm sexy, and they're confused. God, it's so obvious. That's why they're lashing out. Poor bastards. Must be torture.
Evil Ed bends down to pick up his backpack. As he does, Charlie notices an Evil Eddie Garbage Pail Kid sticker that has been slapped onto one of the shoulders of Evil Ed's jacket. Charlie reaches out and peels it off. He examines the sticker and struggles not to smile. Evil Ed cocks his head confused. Charlie shows Evil Ed the sticker.
Garbage Pail Kid.
Fucking Evil Eddie. Assholes! Speaking of assholes, how'd you screw up with Amy this time? Or was the screwing itself the problem?
Funny. And for your information, everything's just fine.
Now, come on, Brewster. I'm not the stupid one. She brushed right past you in the hall today. Hey, Amy, he calls. Amy! There's no reply. Only an indignant expression across the face of his lady fair as she gives her locks a defiant toss from side to side and continues on disappearing into the crowd. Our hero is crestfallen. Ah, what's wrong? She finally found out what you're really like.
Buzz off. Evil.
Call me anything you want. Only you're the one failing Trig, not me.
Evil Ed exits. The sound of a cab pulling up is heard, followed by a car door opening and then closing, and finally the sound of a cab driving away. After a moment, Cheryl Lane, a very attractive, buxom prostitute in her 20s to early 30s, enters. She crosses to Charlie and sizes him up, mistaking him for her client. Charlie can't take his eyes off of her. You're a lot younger than I thought you'd be.
Pardon?
Cuter, too. Honey, I won't be your first, will I? I'm sure if you're patient, the right girl will come along. Your first time should be special, and not with a...
Miss.
Oh, Cheryl Lane.
I'm Chuck. Ed Thompson. And I'm pretty sure that you have the wrong house.
Is this 99 Oak?
No, that's next door over there. I'm 101.
Oh, sorry. Thanks. Well, you just remember what I said, Ed. The right girl will come along.
Oh, she has. I just keep messing it up.
Charlie admires Cheryl from the rear as she crosses away from him. He whistles to himself appreciatively under his breath. Charlie enters the Brewster house and the lights rise on the Dandridge house. Cheryl knocks on the door. When it opens, she is greeted by Billy. He invites her in and Cheryl and Billy exit out of the sight. The lights fade on the Dandridge house. Charlie is heard calling inside the Brewster house.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah, I'm in here.
Have you seen that new guy next door yet?
No, but I did hear he's got a live-in carpenter. With my luck, he's probably gay.
No, I don't think so.
Why? What do you know that I don't?
Nothing. I gotta go study. I'll see you later.
Study? You.
The lights fade on the Brewster house. After a moment, they rise on Charlie's bedroom. It is later that evening. He's sitting on his bed, surrounded by papers and studying his trigonometry. It is apparent that he is both engrossed and frustrated. The scream of Cheryl Lane pierces through the night. Charlie snaps to with a jolt and scrambles to his feet, one of which steps onto something on his bedroom floor. He cries out in pain and grabs his foot and hops over towards the window. He peers out, and for a moment he studies the darkened Dandridge house. The lights rise on Amy standing in the high school cafeteria. The high school football jock is sitting upstage next to a boombox. Charlie enters carrying his lunch on a tray, the main course of which is a cheeseburger. He seems distracted and doesn't see Amy, although she definitely sees him. She makes a point of standing in his path and rouses him from his daze just steps before he would run into her.
Hi.
Hi. Look, I'm really sorry about the other night.
It was my fault. Not yours.
It was?
Amy nods. Charlie flounders to touch her lovingly in some way, but his hands are full with the tray. Instead, he leans forward and gives her a quick, punctuated kiss on the lips as Evil Ed enters.
Look, Amy, I love you, okay? I never want to fight with you like this again, okay?
The high school football jock enters and begins fussing with his boombox. Portions of several songs from 1985 or earlier play.
I'm so glad we're getting this straightened out. I've been miserable the last 2 days. You don't know what it's been like.
As the high school football jock adjusts his boombox, it crosses a channel playing a newscast.
Police have reported the second murder in 2 days in Rancho Corvallis. The second victim, whose body was found earlier this morning, was known prostitute Cheryl Lane.
Cheryl Lane? Wait. Stop there.
not being able to come to the lunchroom because you're going to be there, not talking to you on the phone. Charlie, are you even listening to me?
The badly mutilated corpse was found under the North Creek Bridge by the old mill. As yet, the police have no leads.
What's wrong with you, Brewster? Did you get off on this shit? Been spending too much time with that spooky fuck.
The high school football jock nods in the direction of Evil Ed. Evil Ed recoils. Charlie disregards the high school football jock's remark as the high school football jock exits with his boombox. Evil Ed recovers and smiles wickedly.
I heard the same thing, on the police band last night. Second in 2 days. And get this. Are you ready? Are you ready? Both of them had their heads chopped off and this is the best part. The cops said that the bodies had been partially eaten. Eaten, Brewster, by whoever killed them. Can you believe it? You don't think I'm spooky, do you?
I think you're sick.
Well, maybe. Or, equally as maybe, I'm
He takes
also...
a french fry from Charlie's tray.
Charlie.
Charlie turns to face her. Amy reaches down, opens a cheeseburger on Charlie's tray, and smashes it hard into Charlie's face. The bulk of it falls on his tray, and Amy storms off and exits.
Oh, you're so cool, Brewster. I can't stand it.
Before the lights rise, the sound of a car pulling in is heard, followed by a car door opening and then closing. The lights then rise outside both the Brewster and Dandridge house. Charlie enters carrying his backpack, his face now clean of the cheeseburger remnants. He crosses towards his house, but then stops to look over at the Dandridge house, studying it, his mind going back to the night he saw the long oblong box being carried into it. He suddenly drops his backpack by his side and crosses towards the Dandridge house, scrutinizing it with suspicion. Billy Cole enters, unheard by Charlie. He is carrying a can of black paint and a paintbrush with black paint on the bristles. Billy approaches Charlie from behind. Billy stops uncomfortably close to Charlie in order to be certain his attempts will scare the boy and will have the utmost effect. He leans in and shouts in Charlie's ear.
Hey, kid!
Charlie jumps and spins to face Billy.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Oh, yeah? Nothing? Well, just make sure it stays that way, kid.
He punctuates the end of his thought by swiping the tip of the paintbrush down the tip of Charlie's nose, leaving a black mark of paint. Charlie backs away towards the Brewster house. He touches the tip of his nose and then looks at the black paint on his fingers. The sound of a cab pulling up is heard, followed by a car door opening and then closing, and finally the sound of a cab driving away. After a moment, a second escort enters. She, like Cheryl Lane before her, is also a very attractive, buxom prostitute in her 20s to early 30s. Charlie, flustered by his experience, trips backwards over his backpack and lands at the high-heeled shoes of the second escort. He looks up at her and she looks down at him. 99 Oak?
Oh, over here.
Wow, hello, gorgeous. You must be Mr. Dandridge.
Don't fall in love just yet. I'm not Jerry.
What a shame.
He's inside. Don't worry. You won't be disappointed.
Well, if he looks anything like you, I'll consider it 2 for 1.
Thanks, but you're not really my type.
Blonde.
Warm.
The second escort is unsure that she heard him correctly. Billy ushers her into the Dandridge house. The lights fade outside of the Brewster and Dandridge houses. After a moment, the blue and white flicker of Charlie's television slowly rises over his bedroom, accompanied by the soft sound of the static. It is later that evening. Charlie is sleeping in his desk chair in front of the window with a blanket over his legs and his binoculars in his lap. It is apparent that he dozed off while staking out his neighbor's house. He slowly begins to come to as the lights rise to an atmospheric level on a room in the Dandridge house directly across from Charlie's bedroom. Charlie sees the second escort within. She takes off her blouse. Aroused, Charlie's eyes grow wild.
Wow.
Charlie quickly lifts up his binoculars to get a better look. Jerry Dandridge, bare-chested, emerges from the shadows behind her, gliding with grace. He caresses the second escort's skin with slender, long-nailed fingers and kisses her neck. She is in ecstasy. After a moment, Jerry pulls back her hair, rears his head, and opens his mouth to reveal large, razor-sharp fangs. He then lowers his head to her throat to bite her, but stops as if sensing they are being watched. He looks out at Charlie's window. Charlie jumps up from his desk chair and instinctively reaches up to protect his own throat as he recedes into the darkness of his bedroom to avoid being seen. Jerry glowers, reaches out with his long fingers, and slowly pulls down the window shade to cut Charlie's view into the room. Charlie freezes, stunned. His binoculars slip from his hand as they strike the floor. Charlie whirls around, racing out of his bedroom, calling for his mother.
Mom, you've got to get up here. I can't believe what's happening next door.
What? What are you talking about?
The guy who bought the house has fangs.
Fangs. That's lovely, Charlie. I have to get up at 7 tomorrow. Fangs, Charlie.
The lights fade on the Brewster living room and rise to a dim, nighttime level outside both of the Brewster and Dandridge houses. Charlie re-enters and stealthily crosses to a clump of bushes between both the Brewster and Dandridge houses. He crouches down to spy. Billy enters, carrying a large bundle in a plastic garbage bag over his shoulder, which is the size and shape of a body.
Now you're my type.
The sound of large beating wings is heard overhead, and Charlie looks upward. After a moment, Jerry Dandridge enters. He's carrying the second escort's small handbag in one hand and an apple in the other. Charlie strains to hear Billy and Jerry's exchange.
You forgot something.
Thanks. An accessory to murder. Huh? I saw a tooth. You think I'm funny. So, what do you say, babe? Food, then fuck? On second thought, flip that. I'm starving, and knowing me, there won't be enough of her left to,
Charlie.
Billy and Jerry freeze. They look into the direction of the Brewster house. Jerry then lowers his gaze towards the clump of bushes between the houses. Charlie is unsure if he's been spotted. Jerry tosses what remains of his apple so that it lands right in front of the bushes. It has been bitten straight through to the core. Charlie stares down at it. Jerry takes a step towards the bushes. Charlie leaps up and bounds off into the direction he entered.
What are you...
Billy steps forward as if to follow Charlie. Jerry holds up his hand to stop Billy from pursuing. He then addresses Billy without looking at him.
Have fun, you two.
Don't wait up. And I mean that, mister.
The lights fade outside of the Brewster and Dandridge houses. Anne rides on the Brewster living room. Charlie is sitting in his chair. His mother brings him hot cocoa.
The microwave never melts the marshmallows right. Here, drink this.
Mom, I don't need hot cocoa. I didn't have a nightmare, okay? They did kill a girl over there.
Judy reaches out and feels his forehead to check for a fever.
Well, I'm not sick. I'm not sick. The guy did have fangs. And a bat did fly over my head, and a second later, he stepped out of the window. Don't you see what that means?
Wait, let me guess. What?
He's a vampire.
A what?
Before the lights rise, the voice of Amy is heard as if having a conversation with Charlie over the telephone. She picks up seamlessly right where Judy left off in the previous.
A what?
A vampire, damn it. Haven't you listened to anything I've said?
Charlie, is this some sort of trick to get me back?
Forget it. I'm going to the police.
Charlie, you can't go to the police with a story like that. They'll lock you up.
All right, then. Well, then I'll tell them he's a vampire, but sure as hell I'm not going to tell him about the two women.
Charlie!
Amy is cut off by the sound of receiver slamming down. The sound of a car pulling up is heard, followed by a car door opening and then closing. Lieutenant Detective Lennox enters. He is a plainclothes police officer with a brusque demeanor. He crosses to Charlie.
Mr. Brewster?
Yes, sir. I'm Charlie Brewster.
That one?
Yeah.
You sure about that now?
Charlie nods. Lennox straightens himself, and the two of them cross to the Dandridge house, and the lights rise inside. Lennox knocks on the door, and Billy answers.
Yes.
Mr. Dandridge?
No, but I keep getting that.
Pardon?
Nothing. I'm his roommate, Billy Cole.
Lieutenant Lennox, homicide. Mind if we come in?
No, not at all. Come on in.
Lennox and Charlie enter the foyer of the Dandridge house. The interior is ornate and impressive. There are unpacked boxes sitting everywhere and furniture pieces covered with sheets. A number of antique clocks line the walls. It is apparent that the house is newly occupied. Lennox looks around impressed. Charlie looks around as well, but with more apprehensive, distrustful eyes.
It's quite a place you have here.
Yeah, we're restoring it.
Where is Mr. Dandridge?
Well, he's away on business. Is there anything I can help with?
There was a murder last night. Charlie lives next door. Thinks he saw the victim in this house.
Well, that's impossible. I was here with Jerry all last night. There was nobody else in the house.
That's a lie. I saw him bring a girl in here, and later I saw him carry out in a plastic bag.
What do you say to that, Mr. Cole?
I confess, I did chat up a rather tasty young thing out front last night, but I never invited her in, which I actually regretted until now. And yes, I did take some bags out later on, but they were full of trash. They only smelled like a dead body. Sorry, I shouldn't make light of this. The kid's obviously crazy, officer. Here, let me show you. They're just out back.
Charlie lifts the cover of a large frame painting. The images of a young girl who, despite the centuries-old style of her gown and hair, look exactly like Amy.
Amy? Look, the bag I saw had a body in it, not trash, okay?
You actually see the body, Charlie?
Well, no.
Did you even see the girl come in?
I saw two of you.
Charlie?
No. I went back into the house, but I...
Okay. Look, let me take you out back. I'll show you the bags I put in the garbage.
Okay, let's see him.
Look, I can prove he's lying. Okay, let's look in the basement instead. I bet there's something there.
What's down there, Charlie?
Yes, Charlie. What's down there? Well, obviously the boys made a mistake, officer. You know how kids...
A coffin. That's what's down there is a coffin, I promise. I saw them carry it in there.
What?
Yeah, and you'll find Jerry Dandridge in it, sleeping the sleep of the undead.
Ooh.
What are you talking about?
He is a vampire. I saw him in the room last night. He had fangs and he bit her on the neck.
Oh, for heaven's sake. Come on.
But what are you talking about? Wait, we can't just leave like this.
I've got a coffin for you.
Will you just listen to what I'm saying, please?
I don't care what you say.
Lieutenant, please just listen to me. Look. I'm telling you, Jerry Dandridge is a vampire.
Sure, and I'm Dirty Harry. Now let me tell you something, kid. If I ever catch your ass at the station house again, I'm throwing you in jail forever.
Look, Lieutenant, please come on. Just listen to me for a second, please. I know it's crazy. I know that, but
The sound of a car door opening and then slamming shut is heard, followed by a car starting and then speeding off.
Lieutenant!
Charlie turns back and looks at the Dandridge house. He sees Billy peering out at him, smiling.
Oh my God.
Charlie exits running.
Sweet kid. I guess that solves dessert.
The lights rise on Evil Ed's bedroom. It is a shrine to all things horror, not unlike Charlie's bedroom. Evil Ed is sitting at a small table, painting minute details on a monster model. After a moment, the sound of a car pulling up and screeching to a halt is heard, followed by a car door opening and then slamming shut. Charlie is heard calling from off stage.
Charlie, or Evil! Evil!
Brewster! And to what do I owe this dubious pleasure?
The vampire knows that I know about him, or at least he will when he wakes up tonight.
What are you talking about?
I have a vampire living next door to me, and he's going to kill me if I don't protect myself.
What?
I saw his accomplice moving a body late last night, okay?
Whose accomplice?
The vampire.
Go on.
Okay, so I went outside to hide in order to get a closer look, and there was these flapping noise, and then like huge bat just swooped down, and Dandridge just...
Who's Dandridge?
The vampire.
Go on.
Okay, appears out of nowhere with this apple, and he just...
Dandridge.
Yes.
The vampire.
Yes.
Go on.
He bit straight to the core and all, and...
Well, they do say apples are good for your teeth.
Evil, I'm not got time for this, okay? Just tell me what to do to protect myself, please.
Well, if what you say is true, you should have nothing to worry about. He's obviously a fruit bat! Oh, that's very funny, Brewster.
Evil, please, I'm not kidding. Just tell me what to do.
Well, for starters, don't call me evil anymore. Why do you need my help anyway? You know even more about vampires than yours ghoulie.
You stole that from Peter Vincent.
See?
Look, I'm scared shitless, okay? I can't focus, okay?
Vampnesia. It's made you forget the combination to the old vault of horror. A common symptom of love sickness.
Listen, this has nothing to do with Amy. All I can think about is Dandridge right now.
Oh, should be flattered to hear that.
Tearing me apart once the sun goes down. Yeah.
And exactly what incentive are you offering for me to aid you in this, your hour of need?
Look, I've got $8. Help me, and it's all yours.
I believe I heard some change jingling around in there too.
What? Oh yeah, here, it's fine. Just take it.
Far be it from me to turn down a fool's money. Right, Dr. Bankenstein? Now, where and when do you expect the vampire to attack?
In my bedroom tonight.
Ooh, no wonder he's all you can think about.
Evil Ed crosses to a set of bookshelves covered with horror paraphernalia and picks up a small cross.
All right. Start with this. But you must have total faith in it for it to work. Then get some garlic, links of the stuff that you can wear around your neck and hang from your window. If he comes for you, that'll be the way. Now, then, of course, there's holy water, but you got to get a priest to say a blessing over it first.
That's it?
I'm afraid so. But your best protection right now, Charles, is that a vampire can't enter your house without being invited by the rightful owner first.
Are you sure about that?
Positive.
Thank you. Thank you.
The lights rise on Charlie's bedroom. He's finishing nailing his windows shut in an attempt to make it vampire-proof. He tests the window and then continues moving about his room feverishly. The voice of Judy is heard calling from the Brewster living room.
Charlie, could you come down here a minute, please? There's someone I'd like you to meet.
The lights fade on Charlie's bedroom and rise on the Brewster living room. Jerry Dandridge is sitting in a chair chatting with Mrs. Brewster. Both are drinking Bloody Marys. Jerry is positioned in a way that Charlie cannot immediately see who is sitting in the chair upon entering. Judy is speaking with Jerry.
You know, our town really isn't as boring as I make it sound. For instance, there's a dance at the church the first Friday of every month.
Yeah, Mom.
Charlie, this is our next door neighbor, Jerry Dandridge.
Hello, Charlie.
Well, Charlie, don't be rude. Shake hands.
What's he doing here?
I invited him over for a drink.
You what?
I invited him over. Why?
What's the matter, Charlie? Afraid I'd never come by without being invited first? Yeah, you're right. You're quite right, Charlie. Of course, now that I've been made welcome, I'll probably drop by quite a bit. In fact, anytime I feel like it. With your mother's kind permission, of course.
Oh, Jerry, anytime. It's so nice to have someone interesting finally moved into the neighborhood. Charlie, are you all right?
Yeah. Mom, I'm fine. I just gotta get back to my trig, that's all.
Nice to meet you, Charlie. See ya. Soon.
Jerry, sit, please. Finish your drink. Oh, I nearly forgot. This was mixed up in with our mail.
Judy produces an elegant envelope with calligraphy and a wax seal.
Very fancy. It's from Regina Dandridge. I thought maybe your mother or ex-wife.
It's my sister, actually, Regine.
Ooh, how exotic.
She's very much so.
Well, that makes more sense. I couldn't imagine why your ex-wife would be sending you such a lovely... So, are you currently, or were you ever...
No on both accounts. I'm afraid I was close once, but it all came to a rather messy ending.
Oh.
Now it's just Billy and me.
Oh.
He's my handyman.
Ooh.
The lights fade on the Brewster living room and rise on Charlie's bedroom. Charlie is sitting on his bed dialing his phone. The sound of the phone ringing is heard. Another small area, this one containing only a telephone stand, is illuminated. Evil Ed steps into the light and answers the phone with unceasing sarcasm.
Hell House, Emmerich Belasco speaking.
What?
Oh, it's you.
Look, the vampire is downstairs.
Dandridge.
Yes.
See,
Yes.
I've been paying attention.
My idiot mother just invited him over for a drink.
And no shit.
Evil.
Uh-oh! I think we have a bad connection! It sounded like you just called me!
Hey, this is serious, okay?
You still have my cross?
Yeah, and I nailed it to my window shut.
Then relax. Now good night. I've got some studying to do. Fucking idiot!
The lights rise to a nighttime level on Charlie's bedroom. He is lying on top of the covers of his bed asleep. The sudden sound of large flapping wings is heard, which rouses Charlie. It is followed by a loud thump on the roof above, which causes Charlie to sit bolt upright. A series of loud footsteps is heard, coming from above him. Charlie looks up and traces their path with his eyes. He fumbles for the cross around his neck, takes it in hand, gets up off the bed, and exits his bedroom. After a moment, the lights rise on a nighttime level of the Brewster living room. Charlie enters cautiously, holding the cross before him. There is a sudden scraping, squealing sound at a nearby window. Charlie jumps and brandishes the cross, but upon squinting into the dim light, sees that it is just a tree branch tapping on the glass from the wind. He sighs, relieved, and chuckles at himself.
Tree branch on the window pane. Cliche.
Jerry strolls casually into Charlie's bedroom, whistling Strangers of the Night, as Charlie investigates the living room. Jerry opens Charlie's closet door and slips inside.
I swear, if a cat jumps out on my way back to bed.
Charlie drops his guard and exits into the direction that he entered. The lights fade on the Brewster living room. After a moment, Charlie enters his bedroom and sits on his bed. He drops the cross down his shirt once more and lies back down, staring at the ceiling.
Charlie, this is our next door neighbor, Jerry Dandridge. I invited him over for a drink. Oh, Mom, did you ever? But I can relax because I have this. And because the window's nailed shut and foolproof, state-of-the-art, Van Pellant, right? The window.
Charlie gets up, turns on the light, and crosses to the window to ensure that it is still secure. He tugs on it. It remains firmly in place. He exhales heavily and stares out the Dandridge house. The closet door opens. Jerry emerges with burning eyes, fangs, and long claw-like fingers and slowly approaches Charlie from behind.
Should have gotten garlic. Tomorrow, I'll just...
Charlie freezes as if sensing someone behind him. He spins, only to come face to face with Jerry Dandridge, who seizes him by the throat with one clawed hand and lifts him effortlessly onto his tiptoes. Charlie clutches at Jerry's hand.
Now, we wouldn't want to wake your mother, would we, Charlie? Then I guess I'd have to kill her too, right?
With inhuman strength, Jerry turns and drives Charlie onto the bed. Charlie rolls off of it, rubbing his throat and choking. He makes a futile stumble towards the door.
Do you realize the trouble you have caused me spying on me? Almost disturbing my nap this afternoon? Telling policemen about me?
Jerry jerks him to his feet and, standing behind Charlie, wraps his arm around Charlie's neck, pulling him in close.
You deserve to die, boy!
Jerry drags the long nail in his index finger of his free hand down Charlie's cheek, leaving a bloody scratch. Jerry suddenly stops, turns Charlie around to face him, and cradles Charlie's head on either side of his claws.
Of course, I could give you something I don't have. A choice. You forget about me, Charlie, and I'll forget about you. Is that a deal, Charlie?
Charlie plunges his hand down his collar and pulls out the cross around his neck. Without hesitation, Jerry catches him by the wrist and holds up the cross out from his own view while squeezing Charlie's wrist. Charlie cries out in pain.
Fool!
With a sharp gesture, Jerry pulls Charlie's hand back to the side, breaking the chain on the cross as it pulls taut with Charlie's neck. Charlie then drops the cross on the floor. Jerry drags him towards the window.
If you kill me, everybody will be suspicious. My mother, the police.
Not if it looks like an accident.
Jerry tears open the window that has been nailed shut.
Or worse, you know what? You have been acting rather oddly, Charlie. Moody, paranoid. And then, of course, there is your morbid fascination with horror. Why didn't anyone see it before? Before he jumped out his bedroom window and impaled himself on the fence below. Gotta admit, Charlie, a stake to the heart would sound real great in the obituary, wouldn't it? I could just hear it now. Oh, all the sadness. But don't you worry, Charlie. I'll be there for your mother to do everything to her. I mean, take care of her.
Charlie's hands flail in desperation as he struggles to grasp the window frame. In doing so, he knocks over a can of pencils and pens on his desk. He grabs a pencil and jams it into the hand of Jerry, who is using to force him out of the room. Jerry releases Charlie and reels backwards, screaming and clutching his wounded hand. He examines it to find that the pencil has gone all the way through his palm. Jerry turns back around towards Charlie and snarls at him, which drives Charlie back towards the window. Jerry moves to advance, but is halted by the voice of Judy calling from off stage. Her voice is intermittently accompanied by the sound of a doorknob rattling.
Charlie! Charlie! Charlie? Charlie! Charlie, can you hear me?
Jerry exits the bedroom with a flourish. The sound of large flapping wings is heard.
Charlie, is that you? Charlie, my door is stuck. Charlie, Charlie.
Mom, stand back.
The sound of wood creaking is heard, indicating that Charlie is applying pressure to the door. It is followed by the sound of a loud bang as Charlie shoulders his way through.
Charlie. Charlie, my goodness, are you all right? What is going on?
Nothing. I just had a nightmare.
Oh. You know, I had one last night. It was awful. I was at this white sale and suddenly I realized I was stark naked. Now what is it?
Judy is interrupted by the sound of glass breaking and metal bending.
Nothing. Just raccoons in a garbage can. Why don't you just go back to bed?
But sweetie, what about your nightmare? Do you want a Valium?
I'm fine now, honest. I'm good.
Well, I do need my sleep. I start the night shift tomorrow. 3 o'clock in the morning is so bad for my complexion.
Night, Mom.
Judy exits. Charlie closes his bedroom door behind her. He then crosses to the television, turns it on, and sits on his bed. The sound of a horror film playing in Fright Night Theater are heard. After a moment, a piercing scream comes through the television and coincides with the ringing of the telephone. Charlie jumps and takes the receiver in hand before it can ring again. He lifts it slowly to his ear and, breathing heavily, listens. The lights rise on the room of the Dandridge house, directly across from Charlie's bedroom. Jerry is standing there with a phone receiver in one hand, while Billy cleans and bandages the injured one.
I know you're there, Charlie. I can see you. What's the matter, Charlie? Scared? You started this, and I'm going to finish it. I just destroyed your car right now, Charlie. But that's nothing compared to what I'm going to do to you tomorrow night.
Jerry hangs up the telephone. A dial tone is heard as Charlie sits, paralyzed with terror, the receiver still pressed to his ear. After a moment, he places his receiver back on the cradle. The station break is heard, coming from Charlie's television.
And once again, your host, Peter Vincent. Fright Night.
Good evening, horror fans. Did you know that there are a lot of people who do not believe in vampires? But I do, because I know they exist. I have fought them in all of their guises. Man, wolves, bats, and I have always won. That's why they call me the Great Vampire Killer. Now, watch me do it.
The lights fade on Peter in the spooky set of the Fright Night Theater. Charlie continues to stare at his television screen. The sound of Peter, locked in combat with the forces of evil, grow. Charlie slowly comes to his feet, his attention never wavering.
Go, Peter.
Charlie's voice becomes a defiant growl as he begins to pantomime pounding a stake through with a hammer, each blow growing more aggressive and coinciding with the sound of Peter pounding a stake in the film.
Go. Go. Go.
The lights rise on Charlie, pacing outside the television studio where Peter Vincent films Fright Night Theater. Charlie checks his watch. Peter enters unseen by Charlie. Peter is dressed in his street clothes. His trademark Victorian vampire hunter costume is draped over one arm, but is still on a hanger. His vampire hunter case is on the other hand. Distracted and sulking, Peter plods past Charlie, who is facing the opposite direction. Charlie turns just in time to see him.
Mr. Vincent. Mr. Vincent, could I talk to you for a minute? Mr. Vincent, please, it's very important. Very, very important.
All right, what do you want me to sign?
Pardon me?
Well, you do want my autograph, don't you?
No, sir. I was just curious about what you said last night on TV. You know, about believing in vampires.
What about it?
Were you serious?
Well, absolutely. Unfortunately, none of your generation seems to.
What do you mean?
I have been fired because no one wants to see vampire killers anymore. Apparently, all they want to see is some madman running around in ski masks, hacking up young virgins. Now, if you'll excuse me.
I believe in vampires.
That's nice. If only there had been a few more of you, my ratings would have been a little bit higher.
In fact, I have one living next door. Would you help me kill him?
Pardon me?
You know, the murder of that girl that happened a few days ago?
Yes?
Well, the guy that lives next door to me, he did it. He is a vampire.
If this is your idea of a joke, young man, I am not amused.
Mr. Vincent, I am not joking. I am deadly serious.
Well, if you'd excuse me.
Mr. Vincent, please, you have to believe me. I am telling the truth. Okay. You just said you believe in vampires.
I lied. Now, will you leave me alone?
Please, you have to listen to me. The vampire tried to kill me last night and trashed my car when he didn't succeed. Now he's going to come back to me after me tonight. Mr. Vincent, if I don't get help, he's going to kill me. Mr. Vincent, you've got to believe me, please. Mr. Vincent, please just listen to me just for a second. No, wait.
The sound of a car door opening and then slamming shut is heard. Charlie runs.
Please, Mr. Vincent, wait.
The sound of an old clunker starting and then speeding off is heard. Charlie watches Peter's car drive away and then stomps his feet in frustration. The lights rise outside the Brewster house. Evil Ed enters from one side and crosses towards the house. The sound of a moped pulling up and then stopping is heard. Amy enters from the opposite side and crosses to meet Evil Ed in front of the Brewster house.
What are you doing here?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss visiting hours for the psych ward? I wanted to drop in on Brewster while he's still lucid enough to appreciate mean-spirited sarcasm. Poor guy. Driven to madness by young love. Very Poe. What about you? I thought you just dumped him.
What I'm doing here is none of your business.
So you do like him. Gross.
Amy enters into the house. Evil Ed follows. The lights rise on the Brewster living room.
Anybody home?
She looks at Evil Ed. He shrugs and then points upward, indicating Charlie's bedroom. They both exit. The lights fade on the Brewster living room and rise on Charlie's bedroom. The window is now strung with garlic. There are lit candles all around, and the walls are covered with crosses. Charlie is sitting in his desk chair with a knife, whittling a long, thin wooden slat into a steak. There is a small stack of finished steaks on his bed, along with a hammer.
Hi.
Wow. What's all this for?
Self-defense. Not that I think I'll need it. He'll be dead before nightfall.
Who will be?
Dandridge. I'm waiting for the guy he lives with to leave. And then I'm going to go next door, find his coffin, and pound this through his heart.
That's murder, Charlie.
She pulls the stick out of his hands. Charlie jumps to his feet.
You can't murder a vampire, Amy. They're dead, remember?
Charlie snatches the steak back.
And I don't have any choice, Amy. My mother thinks I'm crazy, and the two of you do.
No, I don't.
Oh, that's a yes from me, though. Big time.
Even Peter Vincent thinks I'm nuts.
You actually
went to Peter Vincent.
Wow.
Yeah. Dandridge has to be stopped.
Charlie produces a cassette tape and puts it in his tape deck.
Listen, I just taped this, okay?
He presses the play button and the voice of a newscaster is heard.
And now for the 2 o'clock news. Another body of a young woman was discovered early this morning in back of a Sheraton Mall.
See? After he attacked me last night, he went out and had his dinner. So no, I don't have any choice. Somebody has to stop him. Hold on. This knife is getting dull.
What are you going to do? If you don't stop him, he's actually going to try and kill this guy. And with a stake through the heart.
Don't you mean, what are we going to do? He's your best friend, Ed.
That was. And by default, it's not as if I have any others.
All the more reason for you to help him. Don't turn your back on him just because you're jealous.
Say, I'm not jealous, I'm pissed off. Ever since you came along, that horny sap's forgotten I exist. No more flipping through horror mags together. No more scaring the shit out of his mother with our gore effects. No more staying up late watching Fright Night.
That's it.
What?
We get Peter Vincent to prove to Charlie that Dangerous Guy isn't a vampire.
And how are we going to do that?
Well, I don't know, but we better figure out a way. If we don't want to be visiting Charlie in jail.
Oh, pretty thing like him, he'd be the belle of the cell. I'm sure they'd love to take that virginity off his hands.
Charlie, it's going to get dangerous going out into that house all alone, isn't it? I mean, you're going to need all the help that you can get, right? Someone like Peter Vincent, for instance?
Yeah.
I told you, I tried him already.
Well, why don't you let us try again before you do anything?
There's not enough time, Amy.
Well, what happens if you go into that house alone and he gets you? Who's going to stop him then?
Yeah, I mean, then he'll be able to suck his way through the entire town. Not that it would be much of a loss.
Charlie, it'll be dark soon. You don't want to go into that house then, do you?
No. No, you are right there. All right. Try him again.
Great.
Amy gathers up the finished stakes and hammer from Charlie's bed and dumps them into Evil Ed's arms.
Hey!
Hey, I'm going to need those.
No, you won't. I'm sure Peter Vincent will want to use his own, professional grade equipment.
Good one.
You don't even know that he'll come.
He has to. He's your hero, Charlie. Now you promise you're not going to do anything till you hear from us, okay?
Amy kisses Charlie in the forehead and then turns to Evil Ed.
Amy, you don't believe me, do you?
I love you, Charlie.
The lights rise in the apartment of Peter Vincent. It is decorated with various props and posters from his many horror films. Peter himself is sitting in a large wingback chair, over the back of which is an ornate smoking jacket, which has been tossed. The chair is sandwiched between a telephone stand and a telephone on it, and a table upon which sit several of Peter's props and a large stack of envelopes and unpaid bills. Peter is dressed in a relaxed demeanor and his furrowing brow as he studies with a letter marked Notice of Eviction at the top. Nearby, several large suitcases are sitting on the floor. The sound of knocking on the door is heard. Peter turns his head towards the direction of the sound. The knocking is heard again. Peter sets the letter on top of the others and crosses towards his apartment door. He opens it just far enough to see who is outside. He comes face to face with Amy and Evil Ed.
Yes?
Mr. Vincent, could we talk to you for a moment?
I'm afraid now isn't the best time.
Please. It's very, very important.
Well, if you would just wait a moment, I'll...
Peter hurries away from the door and crosses back to his chair to retrieve the smoking jacket. He puts it on and straightens himself in order to slip into the character of Peter Vincent, the one he believes his fans expect. After a moment, he calls to Amy and Evil Ed.
Come in. Now, what can I do for you? An autograph, perhaps? Or perhaps an interview for your school's newspaper?
I'm afraid this is much more important.
Really? What could be more important than my autograph?
Saving a boy's life.
Oh, yes, I can see where that could be more important. Perhaps you'd care to explain?
You see, my name is Amy Peterson, Mr. Vincent, and this is Ed Thompson.
I'm Ed Thompson.
And well, Ed.
You remember a fruitcake kid named Charlie Brewster? He said he came to see you.
No.
He's the one who believes a vampire is living next door to him.
Oh. Oh, yes, you know he's insane. Oh, my dear, I hope he's not a friend of yours.
Oh, yeah, she's got the hots for the creep.
Amy dashes and pinches Evil Ed hard.
Amy!
We need your help to stop him, Mr. Vincent. You see, he really does believe his next door neighbor is a vampire. He's planning to kill him.
Yeah, with a stake through the heart.
Are you too serious? My dear, your friend needs a psychiatrist, not a vampire.
Please. Please, Mr. Vincent.
I'm afraid not. You see, Hollywood beckons. I've just been offered a starring role in a major film. I've even had to quit Fright Night. And so you see, I'm
Evil Ed
afraid
picks up the letter that Peter was reading at the beginning and looks at it over himself.
Huh. Notice of eviction. Who's Herbert McHoulihe?
Give me that.
I'll give you money.
How much?
I have a $500 savings bond.
I'll take it. Now, how are we going to cure your little friend of this delusion?
Oh, I got it all figured out. We all go next door to the neighbor and you perform some kind of vampire test on him to pronounce him human. You know, like in Orgy of the Damned, where you looked in the mirror, the guy didn't have a reflection, and then you knew he was a vampire.
Oh, yes. That was one of my favorites. Do you know I still...
He reaches into the inside of his pocket of his smoking jacket, produces a small cigarette case and opens it. There's a mirror inside the lid.
I still have the prop. Such days those were, long before I was relegated to the small screen as a late-night horror host for my own catalog of films. You know, I always wanted the show to have a more theatrical title, one which inspired more of a sense of awe, like Night Shadows, perhaps. But Mel, my producer, insisted on something catchier, something with teeth, if you'll forgive the bon mot. In other words, something that rhymed, and thus Fright Night was born.
He said it! He said it!
But enough reminiscing.
Oh.
On to the matter of hand. How do we get this next-door neighbor to agree to our rather curious request?
Leave that to me. I came prepared.
He crosses to the telephone, picks up the receiver, and begins to dial the number scrawled on the paper. A phone is heard ringing. The lights rise on the Dandridge house. Billy enters, crosses to the telephone, which is sitting next to a large bowl of fruit, and picks up the telephone receiver.
Yes?
May I please speak with Mr. Dandridge?
It's for you.
Yes.
Mr. Dandridge.
Yes, this is Jerry Dandridge.
Mr. Dandridge, my name is Ed Thompson, and I was am friends with your neighbor, Charlie Brewster. As I'm sure you must know, sir, Charlie's a big fan of horror movies and such, and for some reason has come to the conclusion that you're a vampire. Crazy, right? Well, that is to say, a few of his other friends and I, we were hoping you might indulge us and help us prove to him that you are not, in fact, a blood-sucking hellbeast. Would it be possible for us to come by tomorrow? We wouldn't take out much of your time. It's actually rather simple. We'll hand you a cross in front of Charlie, and when he sees that you're able to handle it without burning you or,
Yeah, I see. Well, yeah. Yes, of course. I'm always willing to help young people. But I'm afraid crosses are out of the question. You see, I've been reborn recently.
Oh, sorry about the blood-sucking hellbeast thing. He's a reborn Christian. He thinks crosses would be sacrilegious.
Ask him how he feels about holy water.
How about holy water?
I'm afraid not.
Nope, won't do either.
Tell him it's just ordinary tap water. All he has to do is sip it.
It'll just be ordinary tap water. All you have to do is...
Sip it? I heard. Yes, that sounds fine, but don't bring him over until 6 o'clock tomorrow. I'll be out until then.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you at...
Evil Ed is cut short by the sound of the dial tone as Jerry hangs up. Evil Ed hands the receiver on Peter's phone. The light fades on Peter's apartment. Jerry slowly turns to Billy.
Well, it seems we won't have to go out tonight after all. His friends are bringing him over tomorrow night to prove that I'm not a vampire.
The lights rise to an early evening level outside both the Brewster and Dandridge houses. Charlie, Amy, and Evil Ed are awaiting the arrival of Peter Vincent. Charlie most anxiously of the three.
All right, it's 6:10. He said he was going to be here at 6, right?
Relax. He said he'd be here. He'll be here.
Here he comes.
The sound of an old clunker pulling up is heard, followed by a car door opening and then closing. Peter enters in full vampire killer regalia. Charlie, Amy, and Evil Ed cross to meet him. Peter addresses the three with the full breath of his theatrical bluster.
Thank you. Thank you. Charlie Brewster, I presume. Peter Vincent, the great vampire killer.
Mr. Vincent, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate this.
Good evening. Good evening. Now, down to business. Where's the lair of the supernatural creature of the night?
Peter looks at the Brewster house and begins to cross towards it. He rubs his chin and assesses it with suspicion. Unseen by Charlie, Amy and Evil Ed frantically point at the Dandridge house in the opposite direction. Peter abruptly turns. Charlie points at the Dandridge house himself.
There.
Ah, yes. I see what you mean. There is a distinct possibility. Now, shall we go?
Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Where are your stakes and hammer?
Oh, I left them in my bag.
You're not going in there without them?
But I have to prove he's a vampire before I kill him, Charlie.
Look, I know he's a vampire. I know that.
I am the one who has to know, Charlie.
And how are you going to do that?
Peter reaches into his coat pocket and withdraws a small crystal vial of holy water.
This is holy water. Now, if a drop touches him, he will blister. In this case, I've asked him to drink it while we all watch, and he readily agreed.
Yeah, but Mr. Vincent, if I'm right and you prove he is a vampire, then he's going to kill us all right then and there.
No, he won't, Charlie. After all, I'm here to protect you, and I am Peter Vincent.
Hey, Peter Vincent! Billy Cole. This is a pleasure. Won't you all come in?
Is that Renfield, Brewster?
And Charlie. Hey, Jer. They're here.
Perhaps he didn't hear you?
Oh, he heard me all right.
Jerry enters and descends the staircase to the first floor. He is finishing eating a piece of fruit. As he reaches the bottom, he pulls a handkerchief from his pocket, wipes his mouth and hands, and returns the handkerchief to his pocket.
Wow. The Peter Vincent right here in my home. I didn't know Charlie had such illustrious friends. I've seen all your films and I've found them to be very amusing.
Oh, why, thank you. Amusing.
And who are these two attractive young people?
This is Ed Thompson.
We spoke on the phone?
Yes. How could I forget the blood-sucking hell beast, I believe it was?
Well, that's what we're here to find out.
And this is Amy Peterson.
Amy doesn't take her eyes off of Jerry as he crosses to her without speaking. He takes her hand, bends low, and then kisses it tenderly.
Charmed. Isn't that what vampires are supposed to do, Charlie? Of course, I'm no expert on the subject, not like Mr. Vincent here.
Jerry turns towards the living room and indicates they should join him.
Please.
Some vampire Brewster.
Amy and Evil Ed stare after Jerry, both totally captivated. They cross into the living room as well.
God, he's neat.
Billy circles Charlie in a clear attempt to intimidate him. This herds Charlie into the living room with the others. Jerry indicates the few remaining boxes stacked nearby and the furniture covered with sheets.
Please excuse the mess. We haven't finished unpacking.
Where do you keep the coffin? Or do you have more than one?
Charlie.
It's all right, Mr. Vincent. I'm used to it by now. As you may know, Charlie even brought the police over a few days ago.
Charlie, you didn't.
Damn right I did. Only they didn't believe me any more than any of you did. But you'll believe me in a second, I promise. Mr. Vincent, give him the holy water.
Charlie, there's no reason to be rude about this.
It's perfectly all right, Mr. Vincent. Where is it?
Peter reaches into his coat pocket and withdraws the small crystal vial of holy water. He hands it to Jerry, who hides it warily.
And you are sure this is holy water?
Positive. I saw Father Scanlon bless it out at St. Mary's myself.
Charlie sidles up to Amy.
Get ready to run. I'll protect you with this.
Well, bottoms up.
Jerry takes the lid off the small crystal vial. He tilts his head back and downs all the water in one swallow. He then moves the pocket to the crystal. He then moves the pocket the small crystal vial. Peter clears his throat to indicate that he wants it back.
Now, that is a collector's item.
There. Satisfied?
Totally. Well now, Charlie, you saw that. Are you convinced now that Mr. Dandridge is not a vampire?
It can't be.
But Charlie, you saw it. You know as well as I do that no vampire can drink blessed water.
Then it wasn't blessed.
Are you calling me a liar, young man?
Are you calling me a liar? If he's not a vampire, listen, I haven't touched this.
Charlie holds up the cross. Jerry stiffens and takes a small step backward. Billy starts to advance. Amy, Evil Ed, and Peter are too focused on Charlie to notice. Peter crosses to him, wary of Charlie's unwillingness to concede.
Oh, Charlie.
Peter snatches the cross out of Charlie's hand. Jerry looks at Billy as if to indicate that he should stand his ground.
You've made a fool of yourself once. There's no reason to compound the error.
Yes, Charlie. You've already caused your friends quite enough pain. You wouldn't want to cause them any more, would you?
Charlie sees Jerry is slowly advancing. Billy is sliding into place to block the exit. The tension level in the room is suddenly unbearable. Amy, Evil Ed, and Peter are all aware of it, although they do not know the reason. Charlie reluctantly acquiesces in order to protect his friends.
No. Of course not.
And you're finally convinced I'm not a vampire either, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm glad that's settled. I can't tell you how much I appreciate this, Mr. Vincent. You've been a great help.
Not at all. I'm glad to be of service.
Charlie is the last to leave the living room. As he does, Billy steps into his path and obstructs him like a high school bully. He speaks with a loud, overstressed amiability for the benefit of whomever else may hear.
I hope you won't let this unpleasantness affect our friendship going forward, Charlie. I treasure our time together.
I'm not as forgiving as Jerry. If I ever see you anywhere near this house again, I'll twist off your head and fuck your skull and make mommy watch while I do it.
Okay?
Charlie, are you coming?
It's been very nice meeting both of you, and please feel free to stop by again anytime. You're always welcome.
I'd like that, Mr. Dandridge.
Please, call me Jerry.
Peter, his back to the others, reaches into his coat pocket and produces his small cigarette case with the mirror inside the lid. Charlie crosses to Amy, grabs her by the arm, and tugs her towards the door.
Come on, let's get out of here.
Just a minute, Charlie.
The same goes for you, Ed.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Well, can't have too many friends after all. And I suspect we might have a few things in common. You know, I must confess to enjoying the occasional horror movie myself.
Behind them, Peter opens his small case for a cigarette. He glances in the mirror and notices that Jerry has no reflection. He quickly turns his head back to the group and sees Jerry standing there. When he looks back down at the mirror once again, he can only see Charlie, Amy, Evil Ed, and Billy. Peter gasps and drops the cigarette case. It cracks and it hits the floor.
Something wrong, Mr. Vincent?
Peter hurriedly scoops up the case, unintentionally leaving a single mirror shard on the floor, and returns the case to his coat pocket. He tries to hide his shaking hands and keeps the tremor out of his voice.
No. No, not at all. I just felt a little, it was just my clumsiness.
Are you sure?
Oh, I'm positive. Oh, look, we've been taking up way too much of your time. Thank you so much. Come along now, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.
The lights dim on the Dandridge house. Charlie also notices the sudden change and begins to interrogate the now trembling Peter as they hurry away from the Dandridge house.
What's wrong with you?
No, nothing.
Then why are you shaking?
I'm not shaking.
Yeah, you saw something in there, didn't you? Something that convinced you that he was a vampire.
Of course not.
Please, Mr. Vincent, you have to tell me. Our lives depend on this.
All right. He didn't cast a reflection in my mirror. You satisfied now?
Peter turns and exits at a brisk and fearful pace.
Mr. Vincent, you have to call the police.
The sound of a car door opening and then slamming shut is heard. Charlie runs.
Mr. Vincent!
The sound of an old clunker starting and then speeding off is heard.
Shit. Hey, where are you going, Pencil Dick?
Home.
No
Like-
way. We walk Amy home first.
The lights return to their previous level on the Dandridge house as Jerry and Billy watch Charlie, Amy, and Evil Ed exit.
Looks just like her, doesn't she? Fate, perhaps? Second chance?
Jerry turns and crosses to the portrait of the girl who looks like Amy.
They found her while looking for me. Staked her right through the heart while she slept. My beautiful creation.
That hurts, Jer. Sorry. Just trying to lighten the mood. Nothing to worry about. You have something she never did. Me.
Don't underestimate him.
Who? Charlie Brewster? One good thing. They'll never believe him now. I mean, they bought it, right?
Jerry steps away from the portrait and inadvertently plants his foot on the mirror shard, which was left behind from Peter's cigarette case. The sound of small, soft cracking is heard. Jerry moves his foot and looks down at the shard.
I think our Mr. Vincent might have a sliver of doubt.
Get the Jeep.
Get the Jeep.
The lights rise to a nighttime level on Charlie, Amy, and Evil Ed as they walk Amy home. Charlie, having heard Peter's confession that Jerry cast no reflection in Peter's mirror, feels somewhat vindicated.
Well, at least you two heard him.
Heard who?
Peter Vincent. He just said Dandridge had no reflection in the mirror.
Oh, probably just a trick of the light.
You felt how evil Dandridge was, didn't you? Amy? Remember the way he looked at you?
Yeah, sort of.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
Wait, we have to stay together.
It's dinner time.
For Dandridge, too?
Oh, shit, Brewster, you're certifiable. You know that?
Evil Ed stops and points out an alleyway.
Hey, let's cut through here.
No way. We want people and lights. The more the better.
Listen, Brewster. Vampires don't exist. Haven't you gotten that through your thick head yet? I mean, no one is more disappointed than I am. I mean, can you imagine how cool it would be to finally get back at all of the assholes who have been...
What is wrong with you? What if Dandridge is a vampire and he thinks you know it? Would you walk down the alley then? Evil?
Evil. Always evil. Good night, Amy. And to you, Mr. Brewster, I bid a fond fuck off.
Evil Ed disappears down the alleyway into the darkness and exits. Amy and Charlie stare after him. Amy turns to Charlie.
Look. Come on, Ed. Please just stick with us, all right?
Yeah, forget it. You may be chicken shit, but I'm not. So, fuck off!
Evil Ed finally disappears down the alley. Amy turns to Charlie, and they stare after him.
What do we do?
Just let him go. No vampire's going to want him anyway. Probably give him freaking blood poisoning.
Ah! Ah! Ah!
Where is he?
Over here.
Ed! Ed, are you all right? Jesus. I warned him.
He got me. Charlie, he bit me. You know what you're gonna have to do now, don't you? Kill me. Kill me, Charlie, before I turn into a vampire and give you a hickey!
Asshole.
Oh, you really believed me. You poor dope.
You're going to get yours someday.
Charlie grabs Amy by the hand and storms away with her. They exit.
Oh, yeah? When? When I'm bit by a vampire? There are no such things as vampires, fruitcake.
He turns to exit the opposite direction, and as he does, he hears footsteps. They grow louder as they draw closer. Evil Ed stops and turns back.
Charlie. Amy, is that you?
The footsteps continue to come and grow louder.
That's you. It isn't working. I'm not scared.
Evil Ed looks and sees someone, presumably Jerry. He shakes his head in disbelief.
No. No.
Evil Ed turns to flee. A sudden otherworldly sound is heard to indicate Jerry's transformation from his human form into that of a bat. It is followed by the sound of large flapping wings. The lights cascade across the stage as to suggest the shadow of something passing above him. Evil Ed trips over his own feet and looks overhead, tracing the light of the monster bat with his eyes.
No.
He clambers back onto his feet and exits running. After a moment, the flapping sounds stop and the otherworldly sound of Jerry transforming back into that of a human is heard. Evil Ed backs on stage slowly, never diverting his eyes from the direction in which he exited. He is terrified.
Hello, Edward.
Evil Ed turns to run in the opposite direction. As attempting to cut off Evil Ed's escape, the sudden otherworldly sound of Jerry transforming from his human form into that of a bat is heard, followed by the sound of large flapping wings, and the cascade of lights to move across the stage in the opposite direction. The flapping sound is almost immediately followed by the otherworldly sound of Jerry transforming back into that of his human form. After a moment, Jerry enters from the direction Evil Ed is now facing. His burning eyes and fangs are visible. His long claw-like fingers are only on one hand, but both hands are concealed within the pockets of his long trench coat he is wearing. Evil Ed nearly collides with him.
Come on, Edward. Don't be rude. I said hello. This isn't how you should treat a friend, especially a new one.
I don't understand. I mean, you were, and now that's impossible.
You don't have to be afraid of me. I know what it's like. Being different.
Jerry moves the hand with the long claw-like fingers down from the pocket of his long trench coat and bends down. He gently runs his fingers through Evil Ed's hair and caresses his face. Evil Ed closes his eyes and savors the attention and touch of another person.
And you are different, Edward. Unique. Beautifully strange. But I bet you already know that, don't you? And you flaunt it so boldly. Unlike those such as Charlie and, well, even I hide it away. And how is that courage rewarded? With the pity of your so-called friends and cruelty of bullies.
It never stops. Never.
Oh, but it can. They won't pick on you anymore or beat you up. I can do that. All you have to do is take my hand. Here, Edward. Take my hand.
Jerry pulls his other hand, the one with the long claw-like fingers on it, from his coat pocket and offers it to Evil Ed. Evil Ed stares at the hand. He slowly reaches out and takes Jerry's hand. Jerry smiles, helps Evil Ed to his feet, and then pulls him in close. Jerry then opens his mouth wide, brandishing the razor-sharp fangs, and plunges them into Evil Ed's throat, before enshrouding himself in Evil Ed with the edge of his trench coat like a giant wing. That is the end of Act 1. We will now begin Act 2. The lights rise on a dimly lit area where Charlie is continuing to escort Amy home. The echoing sound of Evil Ed screaming is heard. Startled, Charlie and Amy turn back sharply.
What was that?
It was just evil messing around again.
Amy, what if he really was in trouble?
Charlie, you're not going to let him sucker you in again, are you?
A sudden loud boom is heard and all the lights drop to a low level as if the power has gone out. Charlie looks around.
Don't tell me this is a power outage.
Well, what else could it? Charlie, look at that power box. Does it look like it was
Ripped open?
What do you think could
The
have
sound of large flapping wings drowns them out. They both look up. Amy screams.
Run!
They exit running. After a moment, the flapping sound is followed by the otherworldly sound of Jerry transforming back into his human form. Jerry enters and pursues them at a leisurely pace. The lights crossfade from his area to one where Donnie, a Weasley nightclub employee, is collecting cover charges and checking IDs alongside Leon, a muscular bouncer outside of a 1980s nightclub. The sound of 1980s music rises with the lights. Charlie and Amy enter running. They are both breathing heavily.
All right, I think we lost him.
Yeah. Charlie, you were right about the holy water. We faked it. I'm sorry. I didn't believe you.
It's all right, Amy. Listen, but we've got to hide.
Charlie looks for an escape route and then notices Donnie and Leon. Charlie grabs Amy and crosses Donnie and Leon. Donnie is counting money. He knows they are there but does not look at them.
Hey, $5 a piece.
Come on,
I've got it.
Here, come on.
Whoa, just a sec. How old are you two?
18.
Let me see some ID.
Charlie breaks free of Leon's grasp and crosses out to the eliminated area with Amy in tow.
Hey, you kids can't go in there. You're supposed to be carding them too, Donnie.
Yeah, and you're supposed to be looking intimidating and keeping your mouth shut. So we both cocked up half the job. Now go get him.
Leon shakes his head in frustration, turns and exits in the same direction as Charlie and Amy. Donnie looks out as if addressing more patrons.
Hey, $5 a piece. For you, honey? Give me $3. Show me a pair. We'll call it 5.
The lights rise on the apartment of Peter Vincent. He is sitting in his large wingback chair, studying his now broken cigarette case and rocking in fear. The sound of loud knocking on a door is heard. Peter turns his head towards the direction of the sound. The knocking is heard again. Peter sets the cigarette case down on the table next to his large wingback chair and hesitantly crosses towards his apartment door. He calls in a loud whisper.
Who is it?
It's me, Herbert.
What do you want?
Hurry! There's a vampire out here! Let me in!
Come in, come in.
Thanks for the invite. Took you long enough.
What are we going to do?
What are you gonna do?
Evil Ed pulls down his coat collar to reveal 2 small puncture marks on the left side of his throat. He then opens his burning eyes wide and exposes his fangs in a fearsome grin.
Not me. I used to admire you. You know that? Of course, that was before I found out what a fake you were. Peter Vincent, the great vampire killer indeed. And why? The vampires were always more interesting. And isn't it the monsters, the villains, the freaks, the outcasts that everyone really loves? Oh, sure, they root for the hero, but they remember the villain. They remember the villain. They love the villain. I'm the villain! Duh! It's so obvious now!
Peter quickly crosses past Evil Ed to flee. He positions himself so that the large wingback chair is between them. Evil Ed smiles and stretches out a calming hand in Peter's direction. He bares his fangs in a sadistic grin while singing a line from Oingo Boingo's Dead Man's Party.
Don't run away, it's only me.
Edward, Ed, please.
Oh, call me evil. Everyone does.
Evil Ed runs at Peter. Peter turns and Evil Ed falls on him from behind, opening his mouth wide to sink his fangs into Peter's throat. Peter straightens, pulls a cross from his pocket, and thrusts it directly into Evil Ed's face, slamming it into his forehead between his eyes. Evil Ed's skin sizzles and cracks, smoke rising. He backs away, bent over, screaming in pain, his hands held out to his face. He slowly looks at Peter and realizes, frozen in horror. Evil Ed drops his hand from his face, revealing a smoking sign and the cross branded into his forehead. He then spies a broken mirror in Peter's cigarette case, snatches it up, and stares into it, seeing nothing. He feels the cross-shaped brand with his fingers and then looks at Peter in desperation.
Is it bad? It feels bad. What have you done to me? You crossed the wrong vampire, old man. Crossed. Get it? Shit, I'm even funnier like this. Now that's really scary.
Peter thrusts the cross at him and drives Evil Ed back.
Back! Back!
The master will kill you for this, but not fast. Slowly. Oh, so slowly.
Peter
Back,
advances
I
on him.
say!
Evil
I
Ed,
said back!
Evil Ed snarls at Peter, turns and runs, exiting. The sound of the glass shattering is heard as Evil Ed presumably escapes through a window. Peter exhales heavily, supports himself on the back of the large wingback chair, and places his hand over his heart. The lights rise on the payphone inside a night spot called the Club Radio. 1980s music is pulsing in the background. Charlie digs a Linux business card out of his pocket along with the dime, picks up the receiver, drops the dime in, and dials.
Who are you calling?
The police.
Lieutenant,
Lennox?
that's my line. Who is this? I can barely hear you over all that racket.
It's Charlie Brewster.
Brewster. Oh, yeah. Brewster, zombie kid, right?
Vampire, Lieutenant. Vampire, and he's after us.
Us?
My girlfriend and me.
You got a girlfriend.
Yeah, Amy Peterson.
Well, let her touch your Peter, son, and forget about all this ghoulish bullshit. Seriously, kid, give me a break. You live on Oak Street, not Elm Street. Why are you wasting our time when you could be getting laid?
Lieutenant, this isn't a joke.
Good night, Mr. Brewster. I suggest you follow my advice. My best to the little lady.
He hangs up the telephone receiver. The lights fade on Lennox's area. Charlie slams down the payphone receiver.
He doesn't believe me.
I'm scared, Charlie. I'm really scared.
Listen, I'm not going to let him get you, Amy. I promise. You got Peter Vincent's number?
He doesn't care about us. I paid him to be there today.
It doesn't matter, Amy. We don't have any choice. Now, please give me his number.
She reluctantly digs a piece of paper out of her pocket and hands it to Charlie. The lights crossfade from the inside of the nightclub to an area outside, illuminating Evil Ed, Jerry, and Billy. Evil Ed is rubbing the cross-shaped brand on his forehead. Jerry grabs Evil Ed by the jacket and pulls him close angrily.
What is that?
He had a cross, Master.
Fool.
I'm sorry, Master.
You were given one simple task.
Yeah, and he couldn't even get that right. I warned you not to turn him. And stop calling him master, suck up.
Hey, Renfield, shouldn't you be building me a coffin? Satin lined, too. I like to sleep naked, and I have sensitive skin.
All right. Wait in the Jeep.
I know you're picturing it. you perv.
You too. And he's right. You don't have to call me master.
Yeah, but it just feels right, you know? No, I swear to you, I couldn't do this before.
Evil Ed looks down and he notices, without even concentrating, he is moonwalking. Evil Ed exits completely. The lights crossfade back to Charlie and Amy at the payphone inside the nightclub. Charlie has the payphone receiver against his ear.
Come on, Mr. Vincent, answer. Please answer. Answer me, damn it. Answer me.
Yes.
Oh, Mr. Vincent, thank God. Okay. This is Charlie Brewster. Look, you got to help us. Jerry Dandridge has me and Amy trapped in this club.
No, Charlie. I'm sorry. I just can't do that.
But Mr. Vincent, please, you got to come. Please, come on. You're the only one who knows what's going on right now.
Jerry, no longer wearing his trench coat, enters unseen by Charlie and Amy. He stands at the edge of the stage. Amy suddenly spots him and starts to turn towards him to warn Charlie, but she is entranced by Jerry's distant gaze. He extends his hand to her. After a moment, she slowly crosses towards him and takes it. Jerry turns and exits with her. Charlie, still focused on his conversation with Peter, does not notice.
You have to understand, Charlie. Ed's one of them now. He just tried to kill me. If I try to go out now, he'll kill me for sure.
If you don't, Dandridge will kill us.
I'm sorry, Charlie. I just can't.
Peter hangs up his telephone receiver.
God damn it. He won't help us.
Charlie turns to Amy, but she is no longer there. Charlie exits, running in the same direction as Amy and Jerry. The lights crossfade from the area with the payphone to the club itself. Several colored lights are pulsing with the beat of the music. Various ensemble members are scattered about the stage, dressed as nightclub patrons. Charlie enters the nightclub area. In his frenzy to find Amy, he backs into a small table where a coke user is snorting cocaine from a small mirror through a rolled bill. He looks up with wild eyes with white powder around his nose.
Hey. Watch out, asshole.
Charlie quickly moves away. He then crosses to a girl who from behind appears to be about Amy's age.
Pardon me. Have you seen a girl, dark-haired?
The girl turns to him, revealing herself as an old woman well into her 40s, decked out like a teenager. The older woman stares at Charlie hungrily. Forget her. Take me instead. Why settle for a girl, sweetie, when you could have a woman? Oh, the things I would do to you. Charlie backs away into a pair of lesbians making out with one another. Charlie addresses the first lesbian.
I'm looking for a girl.
So am I. Charlie turns and exits. The second lesbian calls after him. If you bring one back, you can watch. Both lesbians laugh. Just as Charlie exits, Amy and Jerry enter dancing and move to the center of the dance floor. They dance seductively, drawing the attention of the other patrons. Amy is utterly wrapped under Jerry's influence and cannot break free of it. Amy opens the top of her blouse and Jerry smiles. She then moves into his embrace and rubs her head against his chest. They continue to dance as Amy falls deeper under Jerry's spell. As they stop, Amy begins to slide down Jerry's body towards his crotch. Charlie enters once more and sees them.
Amy!
Charlie?
Hey, let her go!
What's wrong, Charlie? Jealous? How about now?
Jerry turns back and kisses Amy passionately.
You filthy asshole!
Charlie swings at Jerry, who catches Charlie's fist in the air with one hand, little effort and without breaking his kiss with Amy. After a moment, he turns back to Charlie and begins to squeeze Charlie's hand. He cries out in pain and his legs buckle as Jerry slowly drives him to his knees. Jerry taunts him cruelly.
You shouldn't lose your temper, Charlie. It isn't polite.
You can't kill me here.
I don't want to kill you, Charlie. I want you to bring Peter Vincent to my house. Just the two of you. That is, if you ever want to see Amy again.
Jerry casually releases Charlie, letting him drop to the floor completely. He then crosses away with Amy, her eyes never leaving Jerry's face. Johnny enters nearby Charlie and grabs him by the arm, pulling him to his feet.
Gotcha, you little.
Let me go.
Where's your girlfriend?
That's her over there with that older guy.
Come on.
Before Jerry can exit completely with Amy, Leon enters and steps in front of them. Johnny shoves Charlie towards Leon and pulls Amy away from Jerry.
Get the two of them out of here.
Yeah, I got him.
Jerry steps towards Amy, his face darkening with rage.
She's mine.
Leon turns to exit with Charlie and Amy. Johnny steps in front of Jerry to block him.
You want chicken, man? You go someplace else.
Out of my way.
Move me.
Johnny draws Jerry's attention to the concealed gun he's carrying. Jerry snarls. The nightclub lights start to flicker as loud popping and the sizzling of electricity is heard. Johnny looks up at the lights.
Leon! Leon, get back here!
Leon releases Charlie and Amy and hurries back towards Donnie. Fearful and confused, Johnny pulls the gun on Jerry. The various nightclub patrons scream and scramble in different directions. Charlie and Amy are separated by the patrons as they all exit in hysteria. The continuous sound of a large crowd screaming is heard. Jerry holds up his hand in front of Donnie's face for a moment as if to mesmerize him. Jerry then steps aside nonchalantly, raises his arm in the direction of Leon, and then makes a gun gesture with his hand. Johnny shifts his aim towards Leon. Jerry flexes his thumb 3 times as if it were the hammer on a gun, and each time he does, Johnny empties a round into Leon. Leon collapses, dead. Johnny suddenly comes to and realizes what he's done. He crosses towards Leon.
Leon! Oh man, no!
Johnny drops the gun to the floor. Jerry comes up behind him and pats him on the back as if to comfort him. Jerry then takes Donnie's head in both hands and breaks his neck. Donnie's body collapses on top of Leon's. The lights immediately rise on a small area outside the club. The sound of heavy metal door being flung open is heard, and Charlie rushes in.
Amy! Amy, where are you?
The lights rise on Amy and Evil Ed in another small area on the opposite side. Evil Ed has his hand down around her waist. She is still entranced. Charlie spots them.
Amy!
I hate to admit it, Brewster, but you may have been right about Jerry.
Ed. No.
Save me, Charlie! I've been kidnapped by vampires! Finders keepers, asshole.
Listen, Ed, please don't do this. We are friends.
Friends? Are you, though? Were you ever? Or did you just feel sorry for me? Yeah, that's what I thought.
I am your friend, Ed. I'm your best friend. But I should have treated you better. I know that. I should have made more time for you. I should have called you.
It's okay. I forgive you, Charles. After all, you're gonna die tonight. Yes, he is. It's the least I can do, right?
If you hurt her, I'll kill you.
Well, that's not very best frienderly, now is it, Chuck? And besides, you can't murder a vampire, Brewster. We're all ready. Dead. Remember?
A Jeep horn is heard beeping aggressively.
Move it, Spaz.
Whoops. That's all right.
Amy! Amy!
Before the lights rise, the sound of a loud, frantic knocking on a door is heard, followed by the voice of Charlie.
Peter, open the door, please.
The lights rise on the apartment of Peter Vincent. His large wingback chair has an open suitcase on it. The sound of loud knocking on a door continues. Peter enters wearing casual clothes and carrying a few articles of clothing. He drops them into a suitcase and then crosses hesitantly towards his apartment door with the same cross in hand which he used to burn Evil Ed.
What is it?
It's me, Charlie Brewster. Let me in. Come on.
Are you one of them?
What are you talking about?
Here. Grab this.
Peter thrusts his cross through the crack. Charlie grabs it, and Peter sees that there is no ill effect. He exhales heavily.
Come on. Peter, we don't have very much time, okay? Listen, Dandridge chased me and Amy all over town, and he trapped us in this place called Club Radio.
Peter, seemingly ignoring Charlie's frantic rambling, hurries back to his suitcase and straightens the clothes he dropped in.
What are you doing?
I'm leaving.
You can't.
Just watch me.
But Dandridge has Amy, and he says he's going to kill her unless we come to his house.
Oh my God. The police. I'll call the police.
No, Peter, no, they won't believe you. I've tried. Peter, it's just us. We're going to have to save Amy.
I can't. Look, I was paid to be there today.
I know.
And you still want me to help you?
Yes, you are Peter Vincent, the great vampire killer.
That is a character in a movie. It isn't even my real name. Look, I'm terrified. I'm sorry, Charlie, but I just can't.
I can't do it alone, Peter, please. If you don't help, Amy's going to die. And me too, probably. You've always been my hero, Peter. And this isn't just a character in a movie, okay? Not to me. Watching you on Fright Night, just Ed and me. Ed. Well, this may sound silly, but it got me through a lot of rough times growing up, okay? Please. And I need you now more than ever.
I'm sorry, Charlie.
Please, Peter.
So sorry.
Peter exits completely.
Yeah. Me too.
The lights rise to an atmospheric level on the room in the Dandridge house directly across from Charlie's bedroom. Amy is lying on the floor. She is now wearing the same dress as the girl in the portrait. The portrait itself is now hanging on the wall. Jerry enters, shirtless, complete with his burning eyes and fangs. He does not have his long claw-like fingers. He crosses to a tape deck and presses the play button. As seductive music begins to rise, Amy slowly regains consciousness. She looks down at what she's wearing and then begins to look about the room. She notices the portrait and gasps. She is then startled by Jerry, of whose presence she was unaware.
She's someone I knew a long time ago.
Where am I?
Where you want to be. My bedroom.
Where's Charlie?
You don't really care.
Liar? I love him.
Am I lying, Amy?
He stops above her and kneels in front of her. Jerry then leans in and they begin to kiss passionately. After a moment, he whispers in her ear.
Am I?
Any resistance Amy has had melted away. Jerry reaches up and opens her dress to reveal her bare neck, shoulders, and back. He kisses the left side of her neck, and Amy flinches as if anticipating the bite. Jerry smiles again, amused by the ecstasy he is inflicting upon her, and then buries his fangs into her neck. Blood streams down Amy's back. The lights crossfade from Jerry's bedroom to an area outside the Dandridge house. Charlie is standing in the illuminated area, staring at the house. He is wearing the cross that Evil Ed gave him. After a moment, a hand falls upon his shoulder. He jumps with a start.
What?
He whirls to see Peter in his full Victorian vampire-killing regalia and carrying his vampire-killing case.
Peter Vincent, ready to do battle with the undead.
Peter, this is serious.
I am serious. Here, hold this.
Peter sets his vampire-killing case in Charlie's arms and opens it to look inside.
Let's see. Flashlight, stakes, hammer. Ah, yes. Cross.
He puts the cross in his pocket.
All right, what about Billy Cole? How are we going to stop him?
Peter produces a pistol.
I'm going to use this. It's from the Orgy of the Damned.
What if he's not human? Bullets aren't going to stop him then.
He walks around in the daylight now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Then he is human.
Peter, I'm not so sure about that.
Come on.
Peter, you can't imagine how much this means, and I really want to thank you for this.
Not now.
Charlie gets a step ahead of Peter. Peter suddenly stops and glances up at the house. He is having second thoughts. Charlie turns back.
What's wrong?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Charlie turns back towards the house and continues. Peter stops him.
Are you crazy? Not the front door. Let's go around to the back and we'll sneak in.
Peter turns towards the side yard. The front door slowly swings open by itself and the sound of creaking is heard. Charlie looks at Peter.
Too late.
I am Peter Vincent, the great vampire killer. I am Peter Vincent, the great vampire killer. I am Peter Vincent, the great vampire killer.
They enter the Dandridge house. The door closes by itself behind them and a loud slam is heard. They both jump. Peter is breathing heavily.
All right, this way.
They cross towards the stairs as if to ascend to the upper level of the house. The sound of large flapping wings is heard coming from outside. It quickly rises and then fades.
Did you hear something?
No.
You know what? Let's come back at dawn. You see, he'll be asleep then, and we'll have a better chance of getting Amy, okay?
Amy will be dead by then, too. Now, come on.
Jerry enters, now fully clothed once more, but no longer has burning eyes and fangs. He does, however, now have his long claw-like fingers. He stands at the top of the stairs. Charlie turns back to ascend the stairs and sees him. He smiles at Charlie and Peter and then mocks them both in a stereotypical and melodramatic Romanian accent reminiscent of Bela Lugosi's Dracula.
Welcome to Fright Night. For real.
Where's Amy?
Up here. All you have to do is get by me.
Peter, gathering his courage, pulls out his cross and thrusts it towards Jerry.
Back! Back! Spawn of Satan!
Oh, really?
Jerry takes a step down the staircase, reaching out with his long claw-like fingers and wraps them around the cross before crushing it. Peter is dumbstruck. Jerry takes the ruined cross from Peter's hand.
You have to have faith for this to work on me, Mr. Vincent.
Jerry tosses the ruined cross over his shoulder and then advances. Charlie suddenly thrusts his own cross towards Jerry.
Stop!
Jerry stops in his tracks, staring at Charlie's cross. He begins to make guttural, pained moaning sounds. He never takes his eyes off of the cross in Charlie's hand. Charlie starts up the stairs towards Jerry, with the cross held out in front of him.
Back!
Jerry backs up the stairs away from the cross and exits in retreat. Charlie, continuing to ascend the stairs, looks over his shoulder at Peter.
We're going to make it. Come on.
Billy suddenly enters from the direction Jerry exited. Charlie is unaware of his presence until he turns back towards the top of the staircase.
You sure?
He strikes Charlie hard, knocking him unconscious. Peter, completely bewildered, looks down at Charlie and then back up at Billy. Jerry enters once again, crosses to Billy, wraps his arms around Billy's neck from behind as if Billy were his pet, and then rests his chin on Billy's shoulders. Jerry grins at Peter.
You gonna run?
Peter backs down the staircase, screams, whirls, and runs out the front door.
Ah!
He ran.
The lights rise on the Brewster house. The sound of a door opening and then slamming shut is heard. Peter enters in a panic.
Mrs. Brewster! Mrs. Brewster!
She does not answer. Peter turns and then sees a telephone. He sets his vampire killer case down and picks up both the receiver and the base of the telephone.
Operator, get me the...
Peter suddenly notices that the telephone line has been cut. His eyes widen in horror. His gaze snapping upward towards the second floor. He speaks in a horrified whisper.
Mrs. Brewster!
He
Mrs.
exits.
Brewster! Mrs. Brewster!
The lights rise on Charlie's bedroom. Evil Ed is standing by the window looking out at the Dandridge house, and disguised in a grotesque mockery of Judy. He is wearing one of Judy's housecoats, his legs are bare, and he has her slippers. He is on his feet. In his hands, he is holding the handle of a dirty mop close to his body. The discolored head of the mop is draped over Evil Ed's head and is hanging down his back, simulating long hair. Peter, unfamiliar with the layout of the house, peeks into Charlie's room while looking for Judy. He is about to move on when he sees the figure close at the window. He steps into Charlie's bedroom.
Mrs. Brewster, thank God. The phone wires have been cut.
I know. I did it.
As Peter draws closer, Evil
Where
Ed
is
turns to
Charlie's
face him.
mother?
Well, apparently she's working nights, but she left a note. His dinner's in the oven.
They struggle for a moment as Peter pushes Evil Ed's head back in a desperate attempt to stave off his fangs in his hungry maw. Peter quickly reaches into his pocket and produces the small crystal vial. He releases Evil Ed, quickly removes the top of the crystal vial, and throws the holy water directly into Evil Ed's face. He grabs his face and reels backwards through the bedroom doorway, bumping into the light switch as he does. Peter slumps against the wall. The only light that is seen is from the hall, streaming through the bedroom doorway. The writhing silhouette of Evil Ed appears on the wall.
That, my loathsome lad, was holy water.
God damn, that hurts. I have a question for you, Peter. Do you know why vampires are better than werewolves? Because werewolves can't turn into vampires, but vampires can turn into wolves.
Evil Ed's silhouette begins to grow and change. The sound of Judy's housecoat is heard ripping as the silhouette pulls it apart. Joints are heard cracking as the silhouette jerks with each small change. Its hands turn into claws, its nose elongates into a wolf's muzzle, and a tail sprouts. Peter slides to the floor, knocking over the trash can into which Charlie had thrown away his remaining steak. The steak falls into the floor. The silhouette towers above Peter on the wall. It is now in the shape of a massive anthropomorphic wolf. It rears its head back and howls. Suddenly, a large furry clawed arm reaches through the bedroom doorway and takes a hold of the frame. The silhouette roars. Peter snatches up the steak from the floor and holds it out in front of him in a feeble attempt at defense. The silhouette lunges towards Peter. The sound of a dog yelping in pain is heard. After a moment, the lights rise on the Brewster living room. Peter enters, breathing heavily with his hand on his chest. After a moment, a pained guttural sound is heard. Evil Ed, partially transformed back into a human, drags himself on stage with the wounded animal. The stake is impaled through his heart, and he is bleeding. His upper body is bare, as is one buttocks and the corresponding leg. His other leg is still that of a wolf. It is longer than the human one and trailing behind him. The fur from the leg also covers his groin area and is creeping up past his waistline. The sight is chilling as he moans in agony. Once he is completely on stage, Peter crosses to him and kneels. He hesitates for a moment to touch Evil Ed, but then gently places his hand on him and turns him over on his back. Evil Ed continues to clutch the stake in his chest. He then struggles to raise himself up towards Peter to his face to whisper in a weak final attempt at humor.
I got staked by Peter Vincent. How rad is that?
Peter smiles back at him with tears in his eyes and smooths Evil Ed's hair down. Evil Ed falls back to the floor, unmoving. After a moment, Peter stands, bends down to take hold of the stake, and pulls it from his chest. He then crosses to his vampire killer case, picks it up, and exits. Evil Ed's hand starts to twitch. The lights rise on the full interior of the Dandridge house. Jerry enters with Charlie over his shoulder and a stake in his hand. He dumps Charlie onto the floor near Amy, who is now wearing a veil which conceals her face. Amy is curled up in the fetal position. He nods at Amy as Charlie slowly opens up his eyes, regaining his senses.
You wanted her. There she is. Here. You're gonna need it.
He tosses a stake onto the floor next to Charlie. Jerry turns to exit.
Just before dawn.
What have you done to her?
Jerry turns back to Charlie, smiles, and then turns again, exiting his bedroom. He closes the door behind him and locks it. Jerry continues down the stairs, whistling and with a spring in his step.
Oh, Amy.
His words down his lips as Charlie turns Amy over. He pulls back her veil to reveal that she has only begun to change. She has burning eyes and fangs of her own. She now has 2 small puncture marks on the left side of her throat. Jerry pauses on the staircase as if waiting for something. He lifts one claw-like finger to his ear. Charlie cradles Amy and screams.
No.
Jerry smiles, satisfied, continues down the stairs, and exits at the bottom. Peter appears outside the Dandridge house and sneaks in through the front door, closes it carefully behind him, and then checks to make sure the coast is clear. He then tiptoes up to the top of the staircase.
Charlie! Charlie! Charlie? Are you in there?
Peter?
Yes, Charlie. I'm going to have to break the door down.
Are you serious?
Yes. Now you make as much noise as you can.
Okay. Help! Let me out! Please open the door! Help! Somebody!
After several attempts, Peter breaks down the door. He enters Jerry's bedroom and he and Charlie cross to Amy. Jerry and Billy enter on the lower level of the Dandridge house. Billy is now wearing a baseball cap and a pair of coveralls with some blood stains and a name patch that reads Tom. Jerry looks up and smiles.
I think she just opened her eyes. Who's Tom?
A guy about my size?
Low profile, huh?
Billy shrugs. In Jerry's bedroom above, Peter points to Amy.
All right, grab her and let's get out of here.
We can't. Look.
Charlie pulls back her lips and shows Peter her fangs.
Oh my God.
Peter sets his vampire killer case down on the floor. Jerry suddenly cocks his ear and then looks up.
Something wrong?
Yes. We have a visitor.
Is it too late to save her?
No, not if we kill Dandridge before dawn.
Peter
sure?
opens up his vampire killer case and removes another cross, a hammer, and a stake. He hands the cross to Charlie.
Are you sure?
So far, everything has been like it's been in the movies, so we'll just have to keep hoping.
All right, let's go.
Charlie and Peter hurry out of the room. Amy remains, shivering on the floor. Charlie and Peter hurry to the staircase and descend to the first floor. Charlie holds the cross out in front of him as they survey the area. Billy enters and startles both of them.
Well, what do we have here? Vampire killers?
Peter pulls the pistol out of his pocket and points it at Billy.
Stop, or I'll shoot. I mean it. Don't force me to shoot.
Billy does not heed Peter's warning. Peter shoots Billy in the head, and Billy collapses into a nearby chair, seemingly dead. Jerry enters onto the second floor. He is complete with burning eyes, fangs, and long claw-like fingers. He begins to descend the staircase. Charlie charges at him and drives him back with Peter's cross.
Stop! Come on, we have him.
Do you?
He turns and exits to the second floor. Charlie looks at Peter, perplexed.
What did you mean by that?
Nothing. He was just bluffing.
Immediately after Peter's dismissal of Jerry's ambiguous remark, Billy sits upright with a limp, zombie-like pitch. He comes to his feet and removes his baseball cap, revealing a bullet hole in his forehead and bright green eyes, all of which were previously concealed by the cap. He stares at the cap and then puts his index finger through a hole in the fabric, whose location corresponds with the bullet hole on his forehead. Charlie and Peter spy movement in their periphery. They turn, see Billy standing there, grinning, and squeak simultaneously in fear.
I want to thank you, Charlie, Peter. There are so very few people around whom I feel I can truly be myself.
Peter fires again, this time into Billy's chest. Billy recoils slightly, but continues to move towards them.
I think I'm gonna miss you too.
Peter fires again, and Billy recoils.
But you wouldn't miss me, would you, Mr. Vincent?
Peter fires one final bullet. Billy recoils again.
Well, not at this range anyway.
Billy grabs Peter by the throat before he can fire again. Billy forces Peter to the floor.
No!
Charlie jumps on Billy's back, throwing his arm around Billy's neck to pull him off Peter. As the three struggle, Peter reaches for something in his pocket.
Charlie! Charlie, his mouth!
Peter pulls a holy wafer out of his pocket.
Pry it open!
Charlie grabs Billy's jaw with all of his might and begins to pry his mouth open. Peter assists by pulling Billy's jaw downward. Once his mouth is open just wide enough, Peter forces the holy wafer in and pushes his jaw closed.
What the hell was that?
A holy wafer.
How did you know that would work?
Charlie, please. I'm Peter Vince.
You didn't, did you?
I did in fact not.
He wasn't human.
No.
What was he then?
A demon? A familiar? A golem? A ghoul? Who's to say for certain? Only his creator, I suspect.
Amy.
Peter picks the pistol up and puts it back in his pocket. Charlie and Peter head up the staircase and cross into Jerry's bedroom. Charlie kneels next to Amy to examine her.
Oh, Peter, she's worse. Come on, we're running out of time.
They exit Jerry's room and cross paths to the top of the stairs, exiting completely. The voice of Jerry is heard, echoing as if only in Amy's mind.
Amy, awake. I command you to awake. Show me how much you love me, Amy. Kill them both.
Amy sits up in response to her master's commands. Charlie and Peter enter once again and cross the hall to the top of the stairs. A dull thud is heard above them. They look up at the ceiling.
He's in the attic.
And I'm going up there.
Charlie exits in the same direction they entered. Amy screams. Peter turns and heads back towards Jerry's bedroom. When he reaches the door, Amy springs up and lunges at him. He pulls the cross out of his pocket and drives her back. She cries out in pain and covers her head with her arms. Peter closes Jerry's bedroom's door. He places the cross back at the top and steps back out and calls for Charlie.
Charlie!
He's not up here.
He crosses to Peter, pacing in frustration. The sound of large flapping wings is heard. Charlie points over ahead.
Hey, look out the window. He's going downstairs.
Charlie starts to descend the staircase. Suddenly, the sound of glass shattering is heard, and Jerry leaps, landing very near Peter and spraying the floor with tiny shards of glass. Jerry is once again wearing his long trench coat.
So, just the two of us at last.
Stay back. Now, stay back.
Peter holds his cross out towards Jerry.
You have to have faith for that to work on me, Mr. Vincent. Remember?
I remember that I am Peter Vincent of Beast of Budapest. I am Peter Vincent of Creature from Carpathia. I am Peter Vincent of Scream for Your Supper. I'm Peter Vincent, the great vampire killer, and you, Mr. Dandridge.
Peter is interrupted by the sound of numerous clocks chiming and cuckooing for 7 a.m.
Are out of time. Look over your shoulder.
No! Rise. With the flap of his coat, Jerry throws himself off stage in the direction he entered. The sudden, otherworldly sound of Jerry transforming from his human form into that of a bat is heard, followed by the sound of large flapping wings. The lights cascade around the area in the Dandridge house to suggest the shadow of Jerry in his bat form passing above Charlie and Peter. Peter runs towards the staircase and shoves Charlie out of his path.
Back!
Peter grabs his cheek as if he's been clawed by the bat. When he pulls his hand away, there is blood on his palm and cheek. Peter's eyes trace the bat's path, and the sound of the large flapping wings fades. Peter rushes to Charlie's side and helps him to his feet.
Are you all right?
Yeah, quick. He's in the basement.
No. Wait. That might be precisely what he wants to do. He wants us to follow blindly. It could be a ruse. The staircase could be booby-trapped, like the one, in the crypt where
the Carnage Castle.
Precisely. And such an obscure little title, too, for my resume. Bravo, Charlie.
All right, the storm cellar doors, that's how they brought the coffin in. The lock's new, but the doors are rotted. Billy didn't replace them yet.
And I doubt he's going to.
Peter, we could try to pry them open. Dandridge wouldn't expect that.
Agreed. So, what say we finish this, my boy?
Charlie and Peter exit. Before the lights rise, the sound of hammering is heard, followed by the sound of wood creaking, metal breaking, and the storm cellar doors being flung open. The lights then rise on a very dim level of the basement of the Dandridge house. It is dank and strewn with various antiques.
Quick! His coffin. It's got to be down here somewhere.
They scour the room. The sound of creaking is heard.
What was that?
I don't know. You keep searching. I'll check it out.
Amy enters slowly and crosses towards Charlie. Her veil is down by her face. Charlie squints to see who it is.
Amy, it's me.
I know.
Peter examines the wall and finds a secret panel. It slides aside, and the ornate coffin that Billy and Jerry were carrying is seen inside.
Charlie, I found it.
Don't be frightened, Charlie.
Hurry, Peter. Get it open.
What's wrong? Don't you want me anymore?
She undulates her body towards Charlie. He drives her back with his cross. She recoils and turns away from him. Her tone changes from that of a temptress to one of a frightened little girl.
It's not my fault, Charlie. You promised. You promised you wouldn't let him get me. You promised.
Amy.
Amy whirls, lifts her veil, and reveals a monstrously gaping mouthful of razor-sharp teeth. Charlie flails backwards in mortal terror at the sight. He screams.
Oh my gosh. No. Peter!
Charlie! Charlie, he's not here!
The sound of large flapping wings are heard. Peter looks all around.
He's still awake!
Peter fires off the last 2 rounds from the pistol wildly in the air while screaming.
Back! Back to hell, you devil rat!
Shooting at it, Peter? Do you really think that was going to work?
We just melted a man in the living room, Charlie. I'll try anything at this point.
Jerry emerges behind Peter. Charlie points over Peter's shoulder. Peter, seeing Amy crossing towards Charlie, responds in kind.
Peter.
Charlie, watch out!
Jerry descends on Peter and Amy descends on Charlie. After a moment, Jerry knocks Peter to the floor. Jerry stands over Peter, glaring down at him.
On your feet, you pathetic excuse of a man.
Peter surreptitiously reaches for the stake he left on the floor next to the coffin. He takes it in hand and feigns meekness as he slowly comes to his feet.
Sorry indeed, Mr. Dandridge. For what is a great vampire killer?
Peter turns and drives the stake directly into Peter's chest, Jerry's heart.
Without a great vampire to kill. I suppose I'll make do with you.
The windows. Billy painted them black to keep them out of the sun. Out of the way, Peter.
Charlie swings the hammer in the air. The sound of glass shattering is heard, and a bright beam of stage light squarely strikes Jerry. He wails in agony. The sound of sizzling is heard as his skin burns. Amy screams. Charlie signals to Peter.
Peter, the coffin.
Peter and Charlie charge at Jerry and force him backward into his coffin. Jerry is bathed in a fiery orange light, and after a moment, smoke vented through concealed holes in the lining of the coffin begins to rise back and forth from Jerry's body. Charlie and Peter struggle to close the lid on the impaled, burning Jerry, while Jerry wildly resists, one hand pressing the lid outward and the other still gripping the stake. Charlie and Peter manage at long last to slam the coffin lid shut. The fiery orange light fades along with a sizzling sound, but smoke continues to leak from the trembling coffin as the two slide it backwards through the hole in the wall. The echoing voice of Jerry cries out as the coffin recedes and the panel previously concealing it slides back into place.
No! Amy!
As the smoke clears, Charlie sees that Amy has reverted back to her former self. He hurries to her, lifts her to her feet, and holds her tight. Peter smiles and crosses towards them, admiring their young love. Charlie looks up at Peter and invites him into their embrace with a welcoming arm. Peter throws his arms around Amy and Charlie. The three of them stand, holding one another, victorious. The blue and white flicker of a television slowly rises on Charlie's bedroom, just as it did in the beginning. The light begins to illuminate the figures of Charlie and Amy as they lie under the covers in Charlie's bed, making out and pawing at each other. The first voice from a horror film is heard coming from Charlie's television.
Look, we've been going in a circle.
Here, right back where we started from.
Charlie suddenly stops, rolls up from beneath the covers, and sits on the edge of his bed, his head lowered.
Charlie?
I'm sorry.
It's Ed, isn't it?
Peter said he was dead. He was sure of it. But if so, where did he go? Maybe Ed was just hurt. Maybe he changed back. Like you.
Maybe he didn't want to.
And now, your host, Peter Vincent. Fright Night.
This is Peter Vincent, back once more with you as your host of Fright Night. I thought I'd let the vampires rest a little bit, for a little while, anyway. Right, Charlie?
We heard the man.
Charlie playfully bounced onto the bed. Amy giggles. Peter slips back into his melodramatic horror host persona.
Tonight, the threat comes not from beyond the grave, but from beyond the stars, as alien beings stalk an unwary summer camp in Mars Wants Flesh. And I do not star in it.
Screeching monster sounds and the sound of a woman screaming are heard coming from Charlie's television as the lights fade on Peter in the spooky set of Fright Night Theater.
Charlie? The TV?
Oh.
Charlie gets up again, crosses to the television, and shuts it off. As he turns back to Amy, something catches his eye through the window. He does a double take and then looks out the window of the room in the former Dandridge house directly from his own. Amy looks at him questionably.
Charlie, is something wrong?
Nothing.
He jumps into bed with her, and the two begin to passionately kiss as the lights fade on Charlie's bedroom. In the blackout, a pair of red eyes appear in the room in the former Dandridge house directly across from Charlie's.
Oh, you're so cool, Brewster.
Wow. I am blown away. You guys did so amazing, and we finished like super strong. We've got over what? How many people watching? Can we say numbers?
Say numbers. Numbers are allowed. You all did it.
We held pretty strong at like 1,000, pretty much all the way through. 1,000 people.
Wow.
At some point, it was 1,200.
What?
Yes.
Are you serious? That's crazy.
I mean, it was flexing, but I mean, we just ended with 1,000. Like, I mean, we had 1,000 pretty much consistently through the whole thing.
Crazy.
Oh my god. That is insane.
Congratulations, you guys nailed it.
Everybody take a bow. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Are we live? Are we still live?
We're live. Oh yeah, we're still live.
Thank you all, everybody who turned out to watch it. Like, I mean, my expectations are just out in the atmosphere somewhere. You know, isn't this cast amazing? Absolutely amazing.
Yes, thank you all for watching tonight. Make sure you like and subscribe to Kings of Horror. This is a great response tonight. We're definitely so. Thanks for showing up and showing out for this wonderful cast. Yeah, fantastic.
Thank you for having us.
Not really anything else. I'm sorry. You all have to go the rest of your night without any more entertainment. So.
We were
Good luck
supposed
going
to have
to
had an
sleep.
intermission, but
Yeah.
it was holding so strong. We said, nope, screw the intermission. We're going to keep running it. Keep going.
Yep, you made us skip intermission.
That's why we didn't do it. Yeah. All right.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, guys.
With that, we will see you again tomorrow for live trivia and movies. And everybody else, take a bow once again.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
It was fun.
Thank you so much.
Great job.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Let it save.
Great.
Don't quit. We aren't live anymore.
Green check.
So yeah, you all broke, at least since Patrick and I've been doing it the last 2 or 3 years, we've never seen numbers like that on a live performance. We'll have several thousand views on something by the end of the week. We've never seen this many watching live.
Wow.
So we obviously got picked up on the algorithm or something, because it went from 50, 40, 50, and then it jumped to like 100, and then it jumped to 400 for a few minutes, and then it shot up to 900, and then it hit 1,000, stayed above 1,000 for about 45 minutes, dipped back down to 600, and then finished out at an 1,100. So just
Very nice.
Y'all killed it. So
That's incredible.
I am so proud of y'all. I really am. Great
I think
work.
the only person that we're waiting on is Natasha. You're almost uploaded.